You know what's exhausting, constantly feeling like you're running behind. Like no matter what you do, there's always someone doing it better, faster, louder. You wake up, scroll for 5 minutes, and suddenly your life doesn't feel enough. You see people posting highlight reels, new jobs, perfect relationships, vacations, success, and you start to question your own progress. You start to think, maybe I should be further by now. But here's the truth, you're not falling behind. You're just measuring your worth with someone else's ruler. The world has conditioned us to believe that value comes from visibility, that if people see it, it must be real, that if you're not achieving at their level, you're somehow less. But that's not how life works. See, worth isn't something you earn, it's something you already have. You don't need another degree, another title, another round of applause to prove that you matter. You mattered before anyone even noticed you. The mistake isn't that you're not doing enough, it's that you're constantly comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's final cut. We forget that people show what they want to be seen. They post the smiles, not the breakdowns, the milestones, not the messy middle. So here you are, comparing your raw, unfiltered reality to their edited version, and wondering why you feel small. That's not fair to you. You've been living a real, honest life, and that doesn't always come with filters or validation. And here's the quiet danger of comparison. It turns your blessings into burdens. The job you once prayed for becomes not enough. The relationship you used to cherish starts to feel ordinary. The body you live in becomes a project you're never satisfied with. Comparison blinds you from what's good because you're too busy looking at what's next. You can't be grateful and jealous at the same time. One will always silence the other. What if, instead of asking, "Why am I not there yet?" you started asking, "Why am I here?" What if your timeline isn't broken, it's personal? Maybe you're not late. Maybe your story just moves differently. And that's okay. The goal isn't to match someone else's pace. It's to move at the rhythm of your own purpose. When you stop measuring your worth by other people's standards, something beautiful happens, peace. You start noticing small wins again. You start realizing you're already living some of the moments you used to dream about. You stop chasing applause and start appreciating progress. That's when the pressure lifts and you can finally breathe. The truth is, people aren't your competition. Your only competition is who you were yesterday. And even then, it's not about beating that person. It's about understanding them. It's about saying, "I see how far I've come, and I'm proud of that." You owe it to yourself to recognize your growth, not because the world applauds it, but because you lived it. You're not behind, you're not less, and you're not unworthy. You're becoming, and that takes time. Your value isn't in the noise of other people's lives. It's in the quiet strength it takes to keep showing up in your own. So stop counting likes, followers, or achievements as proof of your importance. The evidence that you're enough is already in the way you care, the way you try, the way you love. You don't need to do more to be worthy. You already are, and maybe it's time you finally believed that. We all have moments we wish we could rewrite, choices we regret, words we wish we never said, people we wish we never lost. And sometimes we carry those moments like weight on our backs, convincing ourselves that because of them, we're less worthy of peace, of love, of good things. But that's not how growth works. Your past doesn't disqualify you, it defines the strength that got you here. You've been through things most people will never understand, and yet you're still standing. That's not weakness, that's resilience disguised as survival. The problem is, we often confuse guilt with identity. We start believing that what we did is who we are, but you are not your worst day. You are not that mistake, that heartbreak, or that failure. You are the person who learned from it, healed from it, and carried on anyway. You can't keep punishing yourself for a version of you that didn't know what you know now. You were doing the best you could with what you had at the time. And if you could go back, maybe you'd do things differently, but you can't, and that's okay. That's how life teaches. Sometimes we hold onto our past because we think it keeps us accountable, when really it just keeps us stuck. We replay old memories like a loop, trying to find where we went wrong, hoping we can undo the damage. But healing doesn't come from rewatching the pain. It comes from choosing to stop letting it define you. You can acknowledge what happened without living inside it. You can remember without relapsing. Here's what's real: you can't grow if you keep hating the parts of your story that grew you. Every scar you carry is proof of a lesson learned. Every setback taught you something your comfort zone never could. The past was not meant to imprison you. It was meant to prepare you. The strength you have today, it came from the very pain you're ashamed of. And it's easy to forget that when you're surrounded by reminders of what didn't go right. When you see someone else who seems to have it together, and you think, if only I hadn't messed that up. But maybe those messes were your milestones. Maybe the doors that closed weren't punishment, they were protection. Maybe you weren't supposed to end up there because something better needed space to unfold. You are allowed to forgive yourself. You're allowed to outgrow the shame you've been carrying. You're allowed to release the guilt and still honor the lesson. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means understanding that it happened for you, not to you. It means giving yourself permission to move forward without dragging your history into every new chapter. If you keep identifying yourself by what broke you, you'll never see who you're becoming. You can't build a future while staring in the rearview mirror. Life moves forward for a reason, because you're not meant to go back. The past has already done its job. It showed you your strength, it revealed your limits, and it shaped your heart. Now it's time to thank it, let it rest, and walk into what's next. You are not the mistake. You are the person who survived it, and that alone proves you were never too far gone to begin again. It's human to want to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be told you're doing well. We all crave that feeling of validation, that moment when someone notices our effort, compliments our progress, or tells us we matter, and there's nothing wrong with that. Validation feels good because it connects us. It reminds us that we're not invisible, but the problem comes when your sense of worth depends on it, when every bit of peace, confidence, or happiness you feel relies on someone else's approval. That's when you start living like a performer instead of a person, always on stage, always proving, never resting. We spend so much of our lives trying to impress people at work, impress our families, impress people online. We post, we filter, we polish, all to feel that quick hit of "you're enough" from the outside world. But that high fades fast, doesn't it? The applause quiets, the compliments stop coming, and suddenly you're left wondering who you are without the noise. That's when the emptiness creeps in, because if your self-worth comes from their approval, you'll always need more of it to feel whole. It's like drinking salt water when you're thirsty. It satisfies you for a moment, but it never truly nourishes you. External validation is the same. It feeds the ego, not the soul. And the more you chase it, the more you lose touch with who you really are. You start shaping your identity around what people like, what they accept, what they find impressive, and little by little, you drift away from your authentic self. But peace doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being aligned, from knowing that who you are when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, is still someone you're proud of. You don't need the world to clap for you to be proud of your growth. You just need to recognize that you're showing up, that you're trying, that you're evolving even if no one notices. Here's what I've learned: the more you depend on outside approval, the easier it is to forget your own voice. You start asking everyone else, "Is this enough?" instead of asking yourself, "Does this feel true?" You begin to edit your emotions, silence your opinions, and minimize your dreams just to fit into someone else's comfort zone. But authenticity, real peace, can't breathe in an environment of constant performance. You can't keep proving your worth to people who benefit from you doubting it. The moment you stop chasing validation, something powerful happens. You start healing. You start listening to yourself again. You realize that the opinions that once controlled you no longer hold power because you've built your own approval from the inside out. You begin to live from a place of wholeness, not hunger. From contentment, not comparison. That's the shift from validation to self-acceptance. And self-acceptance doesn't mean you stop improving. It means you stop rejecting yourself while you grow. It means saying, I'm still learning, and that's okay. It means loving yourself through the process, not just at the finish line. When you reach that space, that quiet confidence that comes from within the world's noise doesn't shake you anymore. Compliments become kind, not necessary. Criticism becomes feedback, not a wound. You stop needing permission to feel proud, to rest, to simply exist. So, yes, validation feels good, but self-acceptance feels like freedom. And when you finally make peace with who you are, you stop performing for approval and start living with purpose. Because the truth is, you were never meant to be perfect for them, you were meant to be whole for you. We all wear masks, smiles that say, I'm fine, while deep down we're barely holding it together. We've gotten so used to pretending that pain doesn't exist, that it almost feels uncomfortable to be honest about it. Somewhere along the way, we learned that showing emotion equals weakness, that vulnerability is dangerous, and that strength means silence. But that's not strength, that's survival, and survival isn't meant to be permanent. You can't heal from what you keep pretending doesn't hurt. We hide what hurts because we're afraid of judgment, afraid people will see the cracks and think less of us. So we keep things bottled up, the grief, the guilt, the disappointment, the exhaustion, all buried under a practiced smile. But what happens when you keep it all inside is simple. It leaks. It seeps into your relationships, your moods, your peace. You start snapping at small things, shutting people out, or numbing yourself just to get through the day. The pain doesn't disappear, it disguises itself until it controls you. And I get it. Opening up isn't easy. It takes courage to say, I'm not okay. It takes even more to let someone see the parts of you that you don't even like. But the truth is, healing doesn't start with fixing yourself. It starts with facing yourself. You can't heal by hiding. You have to let light touch the places you've kept in the dark. That's where growth begins. Think about it: when you break a bone, you don't hide it and hope it heals. You go get it treated. You let someone help you set it right, even though it hurts in the process. Emotional pain works the same way. You can't just ignore it and expect it to go away. Healing requires honesty with yourself first, and then with others. The pain you refuse to feel will always find another way to surface. The world glorifies being strong, but real strength isn't pretending you're unaffected. Real strength is admitting, this broke me, but I'm still here. It's allowing yourself to cry when you need to rest when you're drained, to admit when something cut deeper than you thought it would. That's not weakness, that's bravery in its purest form. Vulnerability is not the absence of strength, it's the evidence of it. Because it takes courage to be real in a world that rewards pretending. And I know what you might be thinking. What if they don't understand? And you're right, some people won't. But that's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their capacity. The right people, the safe ones, will never run from your truth. They'll hold it with care, and even if no one else does, you owe it to yourself to be honest about what you feel, because the cost of hiding is far greater than the fear of being seen. When you stop hiding, you stop carrying the weight of pretending. You make space for peace to move in. You give yourself permission to breathe again, and that's what healing really is: not forgetting what hurt you, but no longer letting it define you. You don't have to wear the mask anymore. You don't have to keep acting like you're fine when you're not. The moment you choose honesty over hiding, you take your power back, and maybe, just maybe, that's where the real healing begins. We live in a world obsessed with big moments, the promotions, the milestones, the public wins. We celebrate people when they arrive, but rarely when they're on their way. And because of that, we start believing that progress only matters when it's loud, when it's visible, when someone else sees it. But most growth doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in silence, in those ordinary, unseen moments where no one is clapping and no one is watching. The truth is, the smallest steps are often the ones that take the most strength. There's a quiet kind of courage in just showing up when you don't feel like it, getting out of bed when your mind tells you to stay down, choosing to try again after another disappointment, speaking kindly to yourself after years of self-criticism. Those moments don't look glamorous, but they're proof that you're still fighting, still healing, still moving forward. You may not see it as progress because it doesn't come with instant results, but it is. Every time you choose to keep going, you're becoming stronger in ways that can't yet be measured. The world won't always notice your effort. Sometimes you'll do the right thing, make the hard choice, or take a quiet step toward healing, and it'll go completely unseen. But that doesn't make it any less valuable. You don't need validation to make progress real. The reward isn't in recognition, it's in the resilience you build. Growth that's unseen is often the most powerful kind because it's genuine. You're not doing it to impress anyone, you're doing it to free yourself. And here's the thing, progress isn't linear. Some days you'll move forward, and some days you'll fall back. Some seasons will feel like momentum, and others will feel like maintenance. But even in the slow seasons, you're learning. Even when it looks like nothing's changing, something inside you is being refined. Healing takes time, and growth isn't always visible from the outside. Just because you can't see the roots doesn't mean the tree isn't growing. You have to learn to celebrate the small things, the moments that no one else claps for, the quiet victories like setting a boundary, saying no without guilt, or forgiving yourself for yesterday. Those things matter. They're signs of maturity, of strength, of self-awareness. We tend to overlook them because they don't make headlines, but they're the foundation for everything bigger that's coming. Big change is built on small, consistent steps, and every single one counts. Maybe right now, you feel like you're not moving fast enough. Maybe you're tired of waiting, tired of trying, tired of feeling like you should be further by now. But hear this, the pace doesn't determine the value. Slow progress is still progress. You're not failing because it's taking time, you're growing because you haven't given up. You're still here, still trying, still showing up for yourself. That's what matters. That's where transformation begins. Don't let the quiet fool you. The most important changes in your life are happening beneath the surface, in the places no one sees but you. Every act of patience, every small act of courage, every decision to keep moving, they're adding up. You're building something solid, something unshakable, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. So keep going. Keep taking those quiet steps forward. Keep trusting that the work you're doing, even when it feels invisible, is shaping something beautiful in you. Because progress doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it just whispers, you're getting there. There's this idea we've all quietly bought into that being enough means being perfect. That once you have it all together, once you fix every flaw, once you've checked every box, then you can finally feel worthy. But that's not how it works. Being enough has never been about perfection. It's about wholeness. It's about knowing that even with the mess, the mistakes, and the moments you're not proud of, you still have value. You don't earn your worth by becoming flawless. You recognize it by finally accepting yourself as you are, in this moment, right now. You can want to grow without rejecting who you are today. Growth and self-acceptance aren't enemies, they're partners. You can be proud of how far you've come and still want to keep getting better. The trap is when you start believing that happiness only exists on the other side of achievement. You tell yourself, I'll be enough when I lose the weight, when I make the money, when I find the right person. But the truth is, If you can't see your value before those things, you'll still feel empty after them. You can't fill an internal void with external success. We've been taught to chase validation, to fix, to perform, but rarely to be. Just to exist, without conditions, without proving, without performing. To wake up and say, I'm allowed to feel proud of myself today, even if nothing big happened. You are allowed to rest in your own worth without needing a reason, because you're not a project, you're a person. You don't need to earn the right to be loved, to be peaceful, to belong. Those are not rewards, they're birthrights. You don't have to apologize for being a work in progress. Nobody's meant to have it all figured out. We're all just learning, adjusting, evolving, and that's what makes life human. The cracks in who we are don't make us less. They make us real. They let the light in. They show us where growth is still possible. You don't need to hide those cracks to be worthy. You just need to understand that they're part of what makes you you. And yes, there are days you'll feel like you've got it all together, and days you'll feel like you're unraveling. That doesn't mean you've lost your worth. It just means you're living, because being whole doesn't mean being steady all the time. It means you can bend without breaking. It means you can forgive yourself for being human, for not knowing, for not always getting it right, for feeling too much or too little. You don't have to have it all figured out to be deserving of love, peace, or joy. There's something powerful about reaching the point where you can say, I'm still growing, but I'm not broken. That's when you finally stop fighting yourself. You stop trying to become someone else's version of enough, and start honoring your own. You stop searching for proof that you're worthy and start realizing you already are. You've always been. The journey was never about becoming enough. It was about remembering you already were. So take a breath. Let go of the pressure to be perfect. You don't need to fix yourself to be worthy of the life you want. You just need to keep showing up as you are, with honesty and heart, because being enough was never about being flawless. It was about being real, and that's exactly what you are.